Our story begins in 2014 when the self-proclaimed Islamic State, or ISIS, was spreading terror across the Middle East. Their brutal tactics and rapid expansion sent shockwaves around the world. There was an urgent need for a force on the ground that could stem the tide of this extremist group. Enter the Kurds, a stateless ethnic group spread across several nations, including Iraq and Syria. Known for their resilience and fierce independence, the Kurds had long been engaged in battles for autonomy. When ISIS started to encroach upon their territories, the Kurds were ready to fight. The Kurdish forces, sometimes known as the Peshmerga, which translates to those who confront death, lived up to their name. They clashed with ISIS on numerous fronts, often being the first to respond to the extremist group's advances. Their courage and tactical acumen were instrumental in slowing down the ISIS march, providing a much-needed respite for the West and its allies. And it wasn't just on the battlefield where the Kurds made a difference. They also played a crucial role in the ideological war against ISIS. The Kurds, with their secular democratic values, stood as a stark contrast to the extremist ideology propagated by ISIS. Their resistance served as a beacon of hope in a region clouded by sectarian violence and extremism. But as the tide turned against ISIS, the Kurds found themselves in a precarious position. The West, having benefited from the Kurdish resistance, seemed to turn a blind eye when the Kurds needed them the most. This was particularly evident in the case of Turkey, a NATO member with a long history of contentious relations with the Kurds. Despite the Kurds' crucial role in the fight against ISIS, the West failed to support them against Turkish aggression. This was most evident in 2019, when Turkey launched a military offensive against the Kurdish forces in Syria. The West, rather than standing up for the Kurds, largely stood by as the Turkish forces advanced. This is the tragic irony of the Kurds' plight. They were instrumental in saving the West from the threat of ISIS, only to be abandoned when they needed support. The Kurds fought valiantly against an extremist group that threatened the world, yet when they faced aggression from a supposed ally of the West, they were left to fend for themselves. In conclusion, the Kurds' story is a stark reminder of the complex and often merciless world of geopolitics. They were the West's bulwark against ISIS, playing a crucial role in slowing down and eventually helping to defeat this extremist group. But when they needed support against Turkish aggression, the West largely stood aside. It's a poignant tale of heroism, sacrifice, and ultimately, betrayal.